Hello! Hi! So I'm here with Carol Brooking. So, we all love drama, music and performance and know how important it is here in Cornwall. So joining us now from the fabulous Cascade Theatre, here to tell us more about their 4 seasons tour is Carol Brooking. Thank you for coming to talk to us today, Carol.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me again.
And for those who aren't aware, can you tell us about Cascade Theatre?
Cascade Theatre, well, we've been going since 1995 is when I started setting it up, and then 1996 is where it set off. So we're actually quite long-standing now. We set up deliberately to do educational theatre, or theatre with a difference. I used to have a restaurant in Truro in between acting career, and we were unique, definitely unique in the true sense of the word. And very gradually over the years, people started copying some of our ideas, and we used to get so fed up with that that they would pinch our ideas, even down to the same style of furniture, which I'm very tempted to say who, but I won't. And so when I set up Cascade, I was determined not to tread on anybody else's toes. So there was nobody else in Cornwall doing educational theatre. We weren't particularly theatre in education because people see that as going into schools. And although we have been into schools, it's not taking a play into schools. So we've always been issue-based. And we started with a play about HIV and AIDS, which we toured. In the words of, it was commissioned by the Director for Public Health, the lovely Dr. Elizabeth White, and she wanted to take it to kids on the street, which is actually quite hard in Cornwall. She'd seen it done in Puerto Rico or somewhere like that had sunny weather. And doing it in Cornwall
Not getting that here.
On the street isn't quite the same thing. So we did it in youth clubs, and we did one street performance, luckily, in a parade in the Wade Bridge. So we started off with this play raising awareness of the issues around HIV and AIDS, and from there just carried on, in theory, always doing a play about an issue. But plays, as well you may know, is quite expensive to put on. You have a script writer's fee, you have rehearsal time, you have to rehearsal space, and the touring money. They're much more expensive to put on than people think. You can't just knock off in a play in 5 minutes and perform it. So we sort of started diversifying. But the play about HIV and AIDS was seen by I think it's still called Spectrum, the organisation for people with autism. And somebody at that play performance saw us doing it and said, had we thought about working with their client group, possibly developing social skills? So we diversified straight away with doing workshops. And if we were going to be working with people with autism, we wanted to know more about people with autism and what it was they needed, what was the right way to approach the subject, how to do the workshop. So we started researching that, which gradually led us into doing the next thing. And we started doing workshops about self-esteem and confidence for children in schools, particularly those with challenging behaviours. So we were developing particularly workshops, which were cheaper than a play. And then somebody else saw that, and then we did a play about young carers and found it really upsetting to discover what the life of a young carer. That was very hard, and we toured that play. Then we did a play about domestic abuse, and then we did plays about safeguarding and the environment. So all our plays have been issue-based, and that's what we were going to stick to, because I said nobody else in Cornwall was doing issue-based plays, and therefore we weren't taking any work from anybody else. Be nice to think that it was reciprocated, but it isn't always. But anyway, we do, not bitter, we have our own particular take on it. So we carried on doing that, and we do a lot of work. And then we started doing work with people with dementia. And there was another organisation doing this, which was a really difficult quandary for us, because we'd always said we would never step on anyone else's toes. That was our ethic. But they are music and dance education, and they very much use music and movement to do their reminiscence work with people. So we felt that the way we do it was so different from them that we weren't actually stepping on their toes. And we started doing reminiscence sessions and work with people with dementia. At one time, the senior consultant psychiatrist for EMI, which is Elderly Mental Ill Health, in Cornwall, commissioned us to do a play on the acute dementia wards. And we used a style of theatre there that was interactive. We would get, for example, we'd find a topic that they would all recognise easily, like school days or weddings, the village fete. And we would go in, we'd have, when we did the wedding one, for example, we had the best man, and we had the vicar, and we had the bride and the bridesmaid, but we found the groom from people on the ward. You know, we got a volunteer forward to be the groom, and we asked for other people to be bridesmaids.
It's amazing.
And to get them really involved, which was great fun. And I know that this is one time I was working on our friend, colleague Leanne Jose, and she was going to be the bride because she's younger, and I was the bridesmaid. And at the last minute, she sort of lost her nerve and said, I can't do it, I can't be the bride. So we had to swap costume. My costume was a lot bigger, and it had to be wrapped round her about 3 times, a clothes pegs holding it in the back, and mine was gaped open at the back, so I had a cardigan on covering it. And we found the groom on the ward, and he was someone who was non-verbal in an acute phase of dementia. And he came forward and he took one look at me and one look at Leanne and said, I'm not marrying her, I want her. So Leanne was the bride after all.
Okay.
And he dragged her forward to our colleague John, who was the vicar at the altar.
That's brilliant, isn't it? Came full circle then.
Yeah. So we did a lot of that work. That was on both the wards in Bodmin and in Redruth. And then we've carried on doing reminiscence work. And one of our funders, the Alan Lane Foundation, who I've been chatting to this morning, we were chatting to him about, to do reminiscence work properly, you should only work with 4 people. And funding wants figures.
Right.
Funders want you to reach out to a lot of people. So this is where we decided to adapt our skills and do a play particularly for people with memory loss and dementia, so that we could actually perform it to more than 4 people. So that's just that's a fair bit about Cascade. There is a lot more to Cascade than I've said. We do a lot of other work as well. We do we train medical staff, hospital staff in communication skills.
That's incredible then. So it's amazing to see that a local theatre company in Cornwall who is kind of tackling these bigger issues that definitely need to be talked about, and it's definitely a need. Like I think it's really, really important. Yeah. So regarding your role personally, can you tell us a bit about that in Cascade?
Well, I'm the founder. It's my idea. Okay.
Great start.
Vaguely named after me. I'm Carol. Sometimes people call me Kaz, and that. Anyway, that was just my little proud moment. And we have a beautiful logo, which I should have brought with me, but it was done by someone who's now quite a well-known artist. And it's a lovely waterfall. It's a sort of cascade. And it's in cerise and turquoise, which is why we always wear cerise or turquoise when we're working. So
that's beautiful.
If you see 2 people together in those colours, you know they're
it's
Cascade.
It is
us.
you. Okay, so you're here to talk to us about your 4 seasons tour, which was on hiatus for 2 years for COVID and is now making a return. How does it feel to finally be putting on this performance?
A massive relief. It really is such a relief. As I said, our other plays we've done, somebody mentioned earlier to me, was our play about raising awareness about dementia and memory loss, which it isn't. We have done plays and films which are used nationally. I need to get that one in because you're saying about we work nationally training health staff on communication skills and difficult conversations and so on. And we've also made 4 films which are training films, but they're not like a training film where you stand in front of a white green screen and say, oh, you should do this and you should do this. We write a story.
Oh, amazing.
Okay, and then the film is a story, and in the story there are lots of incidences of poor practice, and then a handbook at the end for people to identify what they did wrong and what could be done better. So we've done that on safeguarding people with memory loss and dementia. But this was about entertaining them, but also making them feel better.
Yeah.
Now, you know, having dementia is not a happy place to be, but people have certain memories. They can access certain memories, and as synapses die off in the brain, links to those memories disappear. So there's a woman called Vera Birkenbill, who I love quoting. It's a fantastic name.
Wonderful name.
I mean, I can't spell it, and she's Norway or Sweden, I can't remember, but she's done a lot of research. It might even be somewhere else, but she's one of those. Might be Finland, Norway, Sweden, somewhere.
Okay. Somewhere
They're all the
around
same,
there.
I think, aren't they?
Yeah.
Up there, yeah. Anyway, she's done this magnificent research into these synapses dying off, and if you've got a connection to a memory, and that particular synapse dies, you lose that memory. But if you can create a new link to the memory, then they still have that memory. But what we try and do, there's nothing wrong with being sad, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with crying, particularly when you're doing reminiscence. A lot of people try and stop it happening, but sometimes it's quite good for
Powerful
somebody.
though, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
It's very powerful.
yeah, somebody to cry something out, and for somebody to be there with them, of course, you know, not going to say, well, go and cry on your own. But also it's trying to link into happy memories and happy feelings.
It's amazing.
So this play is sensory, interactive, and full of colour.
Okay, so it's inspired by the 1940s and 50s.
Yeah.
So what's the performance kind of about? What is it?
It's about the 4 seasons.
Yeah.
So the inspiration for the 40s and 50s, it's most older people now will remember that era. Over the years, I mean, we've been doing this for 20 years. We used to meet a lot of people that the war years were a big time for them, but there are fewer people now that remember the war years or were too young. So the 40s and 50s, that inspired the dress, the costume and the style. And each season is depicted in a different way. For example, we deliberately start in the summer, which is happy and glorious and bright, and finish in the spring, which is the promise of something to come, rather than doing in the order of the year, because you want to finish on dark winter.
That's nice. I like that. So it's like hope with spring and
Yeah,
everything. It's kind of bringing it
absolutely.
up. That's lovely. So Carol, this performance has been created for those with memory loss and dementia. How have you done this? What differences are there?
Kit, my colleague, is on the quiet a bit of a genius. I don't think any of us knew quite how gifted he was. He's got particular. I mean, I remember mentioning this last time I was here. He managed to encapsulate a load of things into a 6-minute sketch, but also he understands. We do research. We use psychology and sociology and other socio-psychophysiology stuff.
That's the one.
In our work. That's the one. That's nearly as good as Vera Birkenbill. So it's about. There's about a lot of colour in it and a lot of things they were. The summer one, for example, there's music in the background. He's chosen the songs very carefully. And we have a lovely old-fashioned beach ball. It's that simple. It's a blow-up beach ball. It's a lovely colour. I mean, they come on, they set the scene that it's summer, and they go to the beach, and they have a beach ball. A big beach ball is quite easy to catch.
Yeah,
okay?
that's true.
So that is thrown out into the actors play with it, then it's thrown out into the audience, they can throw it back, and there's all sorts of things that they can do to interact with. And we start interacting with them very gently because, you know, a lot of people don't want to be involved in a play. So just throwing a beach ball is, you know, not too big a deal.
Yeah.
Or they can just punch it back.
They're extremely unhappy about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we also have a tray of sand, and we have, again, it's metal buckets. You know, we have buckets that they will recognise from their era, and little spades from their era. Try to avoid plastic, apart from the tray the sand is in. But you try and make it things that they will recognise.
Yeah.
So we have a little bucket and a spade, and then they make a sandcastle on stage, and we all applaud.
Yeah.
And then she takes the tray of sand round and invites people to make a sandcastle.
That's wonderful.
It's that simple. And each season, I don't know how long you want me to talk for really, but each season has something different in it. And then as there's a little deck chair, putting up a deck chair scene, which is a very old comedy sketch. Charlie Chaplin started doing it, where you get muddled. It's an old-fashioned type deck chair. You're too young to know.
Okay. I'll have a look at it after. So was it challenging not using any dialogue for the play?
Not exactly, because it's so colourful. Kit is He does write more for the screen in a way. He does like short scenes, so it's a lot of props. There are a lot of props in it because every scene, I mean, they have a bathing bell outfit, old-fashioned bathing costume. They have a blanket. They change behind the blanket to the song of Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini, which again you may not know.
It's reminiscent. It's
it's
something
lovely.
there. There's an echo.
All the songs are from their sort of eras, or there. I mean, that's a horrible generic term, isn't it? From around the 40s and 50s and 60s era. And she changes into a bathing bell. They've got the blanket, they've got the costume, they've got the spades, they've got the buckets, they've got the sand, they've got the beach ball, they've got the deck chair. So it's all things are happening. Something is happening all the time. So there's no real need for dialogue. They do a couple of dance type scenes. They do interaction scenes. They're pulling the bag in different. They're going to the beach, taking the bag in different directions.
Yeah, it's nice that it's almost like images, isn't it? And it is just that you can get involved with that very easily. It's very comfortable, which must be nice for them as well, because obviously it's probably hard for them on a day-to-day basis to get involved in something. So it's quite magical for them. I'm sure.
I mean, not all people with dementia are non-verbal.
No,
I have to make that very clear. Some people are perfectly verbal.
Yeah.
But there are some who are non-verbal.
Yeah,
and so the colour and the scenes, it's lots of images put together, but it's comedy as well. And the comedy, we do our level best not to be condescending in any way. I hate people when they're talking to older people who start saying, "Are you all right? Would you like some tea?" It really drives me mad. So we make sure our comedy isn't condescending comedy, and the way we interact with the audience isn't condescending.
Which is great. And that's an important message too, I suppose, as well.
I think it's a very important message.
So tell us about the tour. Where have you been performing this?
Well, it was going to be in care homes, and this is the bit about the hiatus. Was it the word he used? Because of COVID. I think it was hiatus, wasn't it?
Yeah. Sounds right. It was a hiatus.
We had it all set up for a lovely tour in the spring of 2020. It was all rehearsed, ready to go, tour booked into care homes around Cornwall. And this is because of the condition of the grant. Okay, it has to be to care homes, people in care homes. Well, older people in care settings, let's put it that way.
Okay.
So we had this lovely tour booked for the money that we had. And then everything went on hold, of course, because of COVID. So we were just absolutely stumped, and there was nothing we could do.
Yeah.
And we kept kept an eye on what was going on. And eventually we just knew that we had to do something with it. Well, I mean, I suppose we didn't have to. The funders were very tolerant. They completely understood. Because when you get a grant, you have a beginning and an end, and you're meant to do it by a certain time and report on it.
Yeah.
Well, we've overstretched those deadlines.
By far, I'm sure,
2 years, I think. But we thought we'd really like to get it out because it is just lovely.
Yeah.
And
I've never heard anything like it as well, which is nice because it's so refreshing, isn't it? It's like, wow, that you've never heard anything like that.
Interestingly, I will just give you this quote. I've got a little list of quotes here, but this one in particular was from an older lady who was fully with it, because some of the people, when you go to a place...
it's surprising though, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, oh yes, 95. She said, I can honestly say I have never seen anything like this in my 95 years of life.
Yeah.
It was extraordinary. It brought up so many good feelings and memories and deserves to be seen by more people.
That's incredible. So I can imagine that these people in the care homes must be so, so grateful to see this play. So why did you choose memory cafes and care homes? So what would you say that the benefits of that were?
Mostly the benefits are helping people feel better. It gives you good feelings, it awakes memories, it makes them laugh, because it is, and because of you can bring back people's good memories, happy memories, days on the beach.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just another scene about hanging out washing on the line. It's inconsequential, really, but it gives you a feeling of sunny days. So people will sort of remember the sunny days. In the autumn, we had a crackling fire, not a real one, but supposedly crackling, beautiful fire made by Claire Summerson, who's our visual artist and makes sets for us and things. And we toasted marshmallows.
Oh, lovely.
And it was lovely because they weren't toasted, of course, because you can't have a real fire. But people were saying, they're hot. Ooh, lovely. And just
it's great. No, but
playing along with it. You know, careful how you touch it, it's hot and so on.
Well, it's to play, and that's wonderful. So apparently we've got some photos of the performance, Carol, and
We
we're
have
really
indeed.
going to need you to explain to us what's going on.
Okay. Well, there we are, the beach scene. That is just at the end of it, where the rain starts. Leanne is there wearing her bathing belt outfit, which you can only see part of it. Jenny is still in her dress. They haven't got character names. They probably should have, but they haven't. So Leanne is in the pale blue and Jenny is in the turquoise. That's the beach bag that has a bit of a comic scene where they keep going in different directions with it, and the famous deck chair that Jenny does I can't put this thing together with, which again, I was sitting next to a lady during one of the first shows, and she said, "Oh, the deck chair! I remember that. You could never put them together."
Oh,
Right. So that's quite a well-known thing.
yeah.
The end of the rain, the end of the summer, brings us into the autumn. As you can see, we've got the cerise there. Leanne is almost cerise, but it's the best one we could get. And they singing in the rain, and they do a little routine with the umbrellas to Singing in the Rain,
That's
which
gorgeous.
is quite happy.
Yeah.
That takes us then into autumn, followed by Christmas. So we've got a tree features in it quite a lot. If we had time, it would have different leaves for every season, but we've discovered there's too much else to do. Leanne Jose is on the left, the snowman. Jenny Bear,
Oh, I know Jenny.
you may do,
Yeah.
indeed. Jenny Bear on the right, she's playing the accordion as well. They turn Leanne into a snowman, and it's lovely because Hilary, our wardrobe mistress, who's brilliant, spent a long time trying to work out how to give Leanne a carrot. And in the end, I said, why not use a real one? So Leanne does, in the end, get a real carrot shoved in her mouth. Another little
That's
comic element.
fantastic.
That's turning into spring. They're putting on those turbans that women used to have their scarves in the.
Oh, yeah.
They used to tie their scarves up like that and keep their rollers hidden or something, I think. So they're going into spring cleaning scene there. That is the Age Concern Day in Age Concern Centre in Falmouth. There's the bunny. Spring brings out the animals. You've got a bunny rabbit, which just goes around the audience. It isn't a real bunny rabbit, I have to say, but it goes around the audience, and they just like to stroke it and feel it. And we sing Run Rabbit, or the song is Run Rabbit, Run Rabbit. Everyone's invited to join in on the songs, of course, which also does people good.
Yeah.
And we do have a lovely lamb. There isn't a photo of those. Lammy the lamb. That was borrowed from the borrowed before from the Minack Theatre. And it's a jointed lamb, which is a puppet operated by Jenny Bear. And then we have our own beautiful border collie puppet, which she also operates. She's a good puppeteer,
Yeah.
which she also operates, which goes around the audience. And we all stroke the dog as though it's a real dog. We
Yeah,
jump under the tin,
yeah.
tickle its chin and tickle its ears and so on.
Wow.
I was just thinking, one lovely comment again, I remember, it's not on this list, I don't think. They brought the rabbit out. There'd been one woman who was offered to make a sandcastle, and she didn't want to join in on that. And then I think she was offered a marshmallow, and I don't think she wanted that either. So we were just being careful. Obviously, she didn't want to join in. And she had quite severe dementia, but was still verbal. And then the rabbit came out. She just said, "We shoot, they buggers."
Oh no! Typical Cornish comment, isn't it? Well, it has been absolutely wonderful to meet you today, Carol. Thank you so much for coming in. We're going to hand back to Pudge, but thank you, Carol from Cascade Theatre. If you get a chance to,
thank you very much.
See them around.
We need money. Anybody out there with any funding? We can't tour it anymore now until we get some more funding, and that's what we really need. I mean, yes, I'd love people to have the play. Of course I would. We'd love to show it everywhere because it is beautiful, even more beautiful than I expected, which is why I feel I can say it. But what we do need is funding, if there's any kind benefactors out there.
Okay. And with that, we will hand back to Pudge. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. That was really lovely and heartwarming to watch and listen to. Thank you. And by the way, can I just say, I love Carol. Just like a lot of people will dance around the fact that these organisations, they need money to run. Darn right. Get in there. Just ask for it. Well, you can't do it without the money. So if you want to find out more about that, or maybe you know someone, or you yourself can help donate to that, don't hesitate to get in touch with us here at Chaos TV. We will signpost you the right way, or maybe you missed some of that. Do get in contact with us. 01872 228844. That's our WhatsApp and a number to call. Please get the bill payer's permission before you do so. You can email us on hello@thisischaos.com. chaostv.co.uk. And of course, we're across all of social media at Chaos TV UK. Use the hashtag KeepItChaos.